out of the meeting as we move on. All right, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to our Montessori Town Hall. We host these every Thursday as just a space for Montessori leaders to come together and talk about school leadership. Oftentimes we talk about marketing, maybe school admin, operations. We also invite thought leaders to come and share their expertise in the Montessori leadership space. And today we're focusing our conversation on something a little bit more technical, which is how Montessori leaders and administrators can utilize AI, artificial intelligence. So this is, I don't think, it's a partly requested conversation. I don't think a lot of Montessorians are using AI, or maybe you guys are a little bit anxious, but what you'll find is a lot of you guys may be using it without realizing that you have AI as part of your operational toolkit. So in this conversation today, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm going to do some demos. I'm going to give some good prompts that you can use for free AI tools like ChatGPT, and hopes that you guys can utilize AI to make your lives a little bit easier and to help you operate, run, and market your Montessori schools. These are very much interactive calls, so at any point, please feel free to drop a question in the chat. You can unmute yourself. We'll make sure to keep an eye on that so we can answer all of your questions. And also feel free to jump in if you have any experience with AI or any comments you'd like to share. This is just a brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today. I'll give a little introduction as to what AI is, what it looks like, what tools are considered AI, and then I'll talk about using AI for communication. So obviously in the Montessori space, we're primarily communicating with parents, and it can be a great tool for that. I'll also talk about how you can use AI to help you with school operations and with marketing your school as well. And I'll be doing some demos on how to prompt AI, specifically ChatGPT. And the reason why we're going to talk a lot about ChatGPT is because this is now so commonly used and it's free. There's a free version of ChatGPT, which is really robust and can be really helpful. And I'll show you how you can use it to run your school. So what is AI? AI and online tools really have rapidly evolved over the past, I want to say 5 years, really. There's been a big boom, especially since ChatGPT has become popular. It could be a great way to help you streamline operations, improve communication, and enhance your marketing efforts. Particularly, platforms like ChatGPT and other online tools can help schools improve efficiency, save time, and focus more on delivering quality education. So if you can use it to do those pesky tasks like writing, parent letters or creating email templates, you save time on those tasks and you can focus more on managing your staff, creating a great community, focusing on the parents and children, which is, of course, great for us, as we often feel in school leadership, we don't have enough time to do everything. So does AI have a place in the Montessori leadership space? We feel that absolutely it does, and it can help you, and it doesn't have to be something intimidating. You don't have to be tech savvy to use AI. The way that AI has been designed nowadays is to make it really easy and accessible to most people. Again, I really encourage you to use free AI tools such as ChatGPT to help you communicate with families more effectively. You can use it to streamline school operations. In fact, if you're using something like a CRM, a client relationship manager, you're actually already using AI to some extent, because that would be considered artificial intelligence. You can also use it to enhance your school marketing and outreach. And of course, you can use it to create content, which I think is going to be the biggest game changer for Montessori leaders. So a couple of AI tools you might already be using and you don't realize that they're AI or they're classified as AI are things like Grammarly or any type of autocorrect extension that you have when it comes to writing your emails, CRMs, automations like tour scheduling on your website, automated emails, password managers as well, if you use software for this, any kind of social media scheduler or application, and of course, ChatGPT for those of you who use this regularly. I want to talk a little bit about AI specifically for improving parent communication, because I think this is where it can be a real game changer. Um, so, a couple of things that you can do when it comes to parent communication and using AI for that. You can use AI to draft personalized emails to families, from monthly newsletters to event reminders. You can even technically use AI to respond to an email, which is really nice. Um, I will say, with all AI, it is not perfect. A lot of the technology is still relatively new, so I always recommend revising everything and anything that you run through AI before sending it out to a parent. But it can save you so much time in thinking about how to word things, um, how to structure the email, how to structure a letter. It can really help you so much. Um, you can also do things like quick response to parent inquiries. You can use AI-powered chatbots to provide instant answers to FAQs, reducing response times. I always recommend having an FAQ section on your website, but you can always have automations in place. So if somebody places a general inquiry on your website, they're automatically getting a confirmation email. So they're hearing from you right away, and then you can follow up with a more personalized response. So all of these things, I think, improves communication, especially in a time where busy parents expect that immediate gratification. They expect to hear from you pretty quickly. Unfortunately, the reality is that we're busy, we're wearing many hats at our school, so that's not always a possibility. So AI can be great for that. Another thing is it can help with resource creation. So parenting resources. It can help you write parenting tips, guides, and articles based on Montessori principles, which of course you can share with your community. Again, I will say, make sure that you fact check everything and everything looks great before you send it, because while it can write a great parenting guide about positive discipline, you definitely want to read through it and make sure the wording is correct and everything is correct, because AI is not 100% accurate all the time, but it can be a great help. So the benefits for using AI when it comes to parent communication, the first one is just the amount of time that you will be saving. It takes a long time sometimes to draft emails, especially when you are responding to a tricky email. Maybe a parent isn't happy about something or there's a complication. It can be very difficult to sit down. I can easily find myself spending an hour writing a thoughtful response. And sometimes that is a lot of my day spent on one task. Whereas if I can use AI to help me a little bit with the wording and phrasing, it can, half that time, or maybe even make it a 10-minute task rather than an hour-long task. So it's very great for that. It also helps with consistency. So as I spoke earlier about just having those automated responses and things like that, it helps you come across as a very clear and professional school. It helps you be a little bit more error-free, and that helps to build trust. Again, in today's age, parents expect very consistent and constant communication. They might not read everything or open everything, but the second they're not hearing something right away is when they get frustrated. And unfortunately, that means that we really have to be not perfect, but we have to be very on top of all of our communication efforts. So AI can definitely be a big helper here. And I put here, note, revise everything. I'll say that multiple times on today's call, because what you want to avoid is asking AI to type up something for you and then just copying and pasting it and sending it out. It's not going to be perfect 100% of the time. You can also use AI for school operations. So those tasks that can be a little bit more tedious, you can use it to schedule and manage all of your meetings. You can automate scheduling of parent-teacher conferences. You can do this using the CRM or forms. You can also automate staff meetings or school events. If you're a larger school, this is especially helpful where you're having to schedule so many different meetings and conferences. And again, it's a lot easier for parents and staff to be able to schedule things when there's automations involved. Um, so it's something I definitely recommend doing, and probably something that will just be best practice moving forward. Another thing is data management. AI tools can assist in organizing and analyzing enrollment data, attendance records, and other key metrics. If you have a board that is very data driven, I know it varies per school. Sometimes you have a numbers person on your board that's very pressing to see this information. AI can really help you collect this data, create charts, create Excel spreadsheets for it. So I recommend, looking into those tools. Automated report generation as well. This plays into that data collection. You can use it to summarize student progress. This is probably not as applicable in Montessori, but maybe if you want to do something very broad to see your overall performance as a school. Create staff performance reviews. I think this one's really interesting. It's something I encourage schools to do. We've had a couple of conversations in the past in our town halls about the importance of offering constructive performance reviews for your staff and creating a great working culture. And it can also help you generate other administrative reports. They can help you just improve year upon year, be a more organized school, and be consistent with school operations. Benefits of using AI for this is, again, it just allows you to focus more on the staff and being there face to face with people and less on paperwork. Paperwork is probably one of the more tedious tasks that we have to do as school administrators, so it can reduce that time spent doing that. And of course, AI tools can help you analyze that data, and they can actually give you tips and strategies on how you can improve certain areas. And it can help you make more informed decisions. Something to note is to be mindful of personal data. So while it's great if you want to maybe get a little bit of insights onto your enrollment numbers, how you can improve that, how you can present that to your board, you definitely don't want to input too much personal data. So data on students, things like that, because AI is not necessarily the most secure area to be inputting data. So make sure to keep things things that you wouldn't mind sharing out there. Any questions so far? And I will show you how to prompt AI to do some of these things shortly.
Mila, this is Wally.
Hi, Wally.
You had given an example of how it helps you improve decision-making process
Mm-hmm.
in the data. Are
Mm-hmm.
there any places one can go in terms of examples? Because I have no clue how one does that. So where can one go to get more examples of how it is done? And I mean, I just understand the only thing I understand about AI is a classical role of actually composing a letter or an email and all that. That I understand. But the rest of the benefits that you talked about, finer benefits, I have no idea how AI does that. So where does one go to get this kind of information?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I will be giving some examples on how to prompt some of those exact questions onto AI, how they can come up with like business plans or strategies for you.
Right.
It's all really in how you're prompting AI. So I'll give some examples that you can use a little bit later on because it really is so much more capable than just writing emails and letters. Um, so I'll show a little bit of an example later on that. And then if you have any questions following that, I'm happy to answer them. All right. AI for Montessori marketing. Really what we always tell our own clients is, everything sounds better when it comes from you. A lot of the stuff that we provide, so the websites that we build out, they do have built-in content, but it's always great when things have your voice. And with AI, believe it or not, you can prompt it in a way that it can have your tone, your sound, your voice. And I'll give some examples on that in the prompting demos. But you can really use AI to write website copy, so copywriting, help you generate blog posts. Again, always check the content and make sure it has your voice. Social media captions. I think this is probably one of the best hacks because you can ask literally AI, write a series of 10 Instagram posts for a Montessori school that focus on positive discipline principles. And it will write them for you with the hashtags. And if you need to make edits, you can. SEO assistance is another great thing. It can help you improve your school's website and visibility through keyword research and content recommendations. So if you want to reword some things on your website or improve the content, you can ask AI to analyze that for you. Um, you can also ask AI to give you advice and ideas on your marketing. So if you're hosting an open house and you really want to improve your attendance, of course you can run Google ads on it, which we highly recommend. But if you want some fun and creative activities on how you can improve attendance, maybe some in-person marketing, it can give you a list of really great ideas and you can ask it to be more specific to your school, be specific on your location. So it's very advanced in that sense. And I'll show you just how cool it is in the demo. The benefits of using AI for your marketing purposes is it just helps you to, again, save time. Um, when you ask it to write Instagram captions and things like that, it's stuff that you don't have to do out of your own time, out of your own day. And of course, it can help you increase enrollment. It can give you some great marketing perspectives. It can help you with copywriting, which is time consuming. So we definitely recommend using it for those purposes. All right, now I'm going to really dive into ChatGPT and the demos of really how you can use this AI. So I don't know how many of you are using ChatGPT. You can drop in the chat if this is something that you're familiar with or something that you've heard of but just have never used. I'm curious to see how many of you use ChatGPT on a regular basis, just to have an idea. So feel free to comment yes or no in the chat if this is a tool that you use. I use it daily, yes. We have used some, okay. It's becoming very common practice to use this, and I think people are realizing just how easy AI is to use. ChatGPT is quickly replacing Google for certain searches and certain questions. And again, it's free to use ChatGPT. There are paid versions that are far more advanced, but the free version does more than enough for what you would need as a Montessori administrator. Some benefits, besides the fact that it's free, is you can also download the ChatGPT app. On the app, it's actually voice activated if you want. So you can ask it questions if you don't want to type anything, if you have your hands full, and it will come up with the same results as you would when you type a question. You can have full-on conversations with ChatGPT. Not sure what the use for that is quite yet in the Montessori space, but I'm sure it will come in handy at one point. And it's just a great tool to use across industries. We will see it more and more, and it will certainly evolve over time. And I think that we will all get to a point where we don't know how we lived without tools like this. It is something that a lot of people, I think, are going to start using daily. So I said I would talk a little bit about prompts. So really, when it comes to ChatGPT, prompts are going to be the most important thing for you to understand. The questions to ask, how you can ask it to specify. So for example, here I have an example of a prompt I could ask it. Write a monthly newsletter update for our Montessori school, including events, reminders, and a note on the importance of child independence in Montessori education. So now I'm going to do a demo here, and I'm going to copy and paste that into ChatGPT so that you see what comes of it and just how robust it really is. So it goes very quickly. It's even giving me ideas of different events. Of course, I can type in specific events if I want those to be included. And it's going to type up all of that information for me. I can then copy and paste this and make edits, but it's done a lot of the heavy work for me. And here, the Montessori corner, the importance of child independence. Let's say I read through all of this, but it doesn't quite sound like my voice. Usually, my communication with families sounds a lot more friendly or personal. I can ask it, make it sound more friendly and exciting. And it will reword it to sound a little bit more. It even added an emoji there. It makes it a little bit more enthusiastic if that's the tone that I want to have in my email. So it can literally kind of write things in your voice if you prompt it correctly. And then what I would probably do here is I would copy and paste this. I would look over everything. I would make edits where necessary. And then I have my newsletter. And instead of sitting down and spending an hour of my time writing this information, I have it here. So it can really save a lot of time in that sense. And if you prompt it correctly, it can have your tone, your voice as well. Another prompt here, create a friendly reminder email template for parents about an upcoming parent-teacher meetings with tips on how they can prepare. Great example. So it's very specific as to what I want. If I can say, make sure to include a tip about arriving on time or where they can park or something like that. Explain Montessori philosophy. Okay, so how can I explain the Montessori approach to parents who are new to it? Please provide a brief explanation I can share during tours. And it will come up with that. Addressing parent concerns. Write a thoughtful response to a parent who is concerned their child isn't progressing as quickly as they expected in our Montessori program. And you'll see the response that it writes is actually quite accurate to what we would need because ChatGPT has a lot of information on Montessori. It basically is drawing information from the internet, so it can quickly learn what Montessori is and what tone of voice. Again, I can say, can you please make it sound a little bit more empathetic or a little bit more gentle? And it will retype that for me. And of course, I can go in and edit it, but it helps me save so much time writing that. So those are just some examples for how you can prompt ChatGPT specifically for parent communication. Again, I say take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to ChatGPT and certainly revise everything, but it can give you a great framework to start from. Now, when it comes to school operations, here are some other examples. And maybe, Wally, this is kind of going to answer your question a little bit more about how you can use it for administrative purposes and plans, and things like that. So here's a great one. Staff meeting agendas. Create an agenda for our next staff meeting, focusing on classroom observations, teacher development, and upcoming school events. So I can type that in, and it's going to write a really good agenda for me that I can have in my meeting. If it misses anything, I can put, can you include a section on the importance of, staff regularly attending and not calling out too much? That children need consistency. This is something I want to address at our next meeting. And you can include that. And it can even give you conversation starters for your team meetings. It could give you team building activity ideas. So I can ask it, give me some ideas for team building for my next staff meeting. And it will give me a variety of different ideas. And you can specify, you can say, make them more Montessori specific. I don't want them to be too general. So it's great in that it can really help you when you're not feeling like you're in a brainstormy mood, and it can just kind of make your life a little bit easier in that sense. Staff training sessions. Here's another one you can ask, another prompt you can use. Outline a professional development training session on Montessori classroom management strategies for our teaching assistants. This is great. It's something that you can quickly put together. You can hand them out at the beginning of the year to those classroom assistants or whenever they're hired. And it's something you don't have to sit down and spend hours writing because that could be very time consuming to come up with something like that. Parent handbook updates. Help me update our parent handbook, focusing on adding sections about health protocols, communication policies, and child behavior expectations. You could quite literally copy and paste your entire handbook onto ChatGPT, ask it to make those improvements, and it will take your current handbook and suggest a couple of edits you could make to improve it with those points you added. Enrollment procedures. Help me create a step-by-step guide for the enrollment process at our Montessori school that I can share with prospective families. So something that you might want to hand out at your tours or in person at an open house so that you can outline very simply how you can do that for families. Daily operations checklist. Develop an operations checklist for our Montessori school administrator to ensure smooth running of classroom staff coordination and communication. You can also ask it to help you create schedules for classrooms, schedules for staff meetings. So it can really do a lot depending on how you ask the question and how you prompt AI. Now, when it comes to Montessori marketing, it has a lot of capabilities as well, and this is something that can save you a lot of time. As I mentioned, I can ask it generate a month's worth of social media posts highlighting the benefits of Montessori education and our school's unique programs. And it's so cool because it knows that you are going to do it. It's a social media post. It will come up with the hashtags. It will create a series of posts. And it takes a couple seconds. And look, it generates the captions for you. So this is a huge time saver if you find yourself not being able to post regularly on social media. Of course, take the time to edit things, make sure they're accurate, make sure they have your voice, but the majority of things are pretty usable. You might want to add your school name. Maybe I can say my school's name is Northwood Montessori. Can you update the posts? And it will go in there and it will include my school name when rewriting those. So I don't even have to rewrite those myself manually if I don't want to. So it's all about how you're asking the questions, what you want it to do. You can say, make the captions longer, make the captions shorter, add 3 more hashtags. So it's really what you make of it and what you want it to do, and you can ask it and it will deliver. Another one, give me blog topic ideas that would appeal to parents interested in Montessori education, focusing on early childhood development. Or maybe you want to blog about, what does math look like in Montessori? Again, it is drawing from the internet, so it's not necessarily going to be in your words. And I highly recommend if you're asking it to create content like that for your website to revise everything. You don't want it to be too much like what's out there on the internet. It can sound a little bit, it can have an AI voice if you just copy and paste. So definitely take the time to make edits, because while it would be ideal for it to be written by a Montessori AI, there is no such thing quite yet. So you always want to make sure that you're making those checks. Another one here, write an email to prospective parents encouraging them to schedule a tour of our Montessori school and learn more about our programs. And then also for event promotion, so draft an event promotion email inviting families to our Montessori open house, highlighting key features of our curriculum and staff. So these are all things that you can actually prompt it to do. Something else I want to point out that you can use AI for, and this is like more specifically for our website clients, but really if you have a Montessori website and you find yourself not able to have enough time to edit the copy, this is a great way to do it. So let's say I have here my elementary page. This is all great content, but I want to split it, and I wanted to split it into lower elementary and upper elementary rather than having one elementary page. So what I can do is divide this website content to reflect a lower and upper. I want to split it into 2 separate pages and maybe make sure to break up into bullet points. Maybe that's something I want to do. I copied and pasted that content. It's going to go to work. And here we go. It's giving me my lower elementary copy. And then it's breaking it into upper elementary content. So now it saved me a whole bunch of time of having to tediously go in there and figure out how I'm going to word what I'm going to include in which. And let's say I don't like the bullet points. I changed my mind. I don't want bullet points, just sections. And it will reword it in sections like I originally had on my school website. So this is just how powerful it can be for copywriting. And again, I would read through the content and make sure it's in your voice. You might have to rework it. This is just how cool it is too. I said when I asked it to write information about my when I asked it to generate some Instagram captions, I said I was Northwood Montessori, and it saved that data and it's still using Northwood Montessori. So this is just how advanced it is and how cool it can be. And let's say I read through everything and it just doesn't sound like me. I want all of the content to have a very calm and peaceful tone. I can ask, can you make the tone more calm and peaceful? And it will again rewrite it. And you can really work around it and ask it over and over again to rework the content, or you can copy and paste it and make small edits yourself. But it's so powerful for copywriting on your website. As copywriting is not a service that we provide at Nido Marketing, we do recommend our clients, if they don't have the time to, write the content from scratch themselves, use AI. Again, edit everything and make sure it looks good before you do that, but it can be great for that. So you can always use it to rework things on your website. Oftentimes we work with schools that have large walls of text as well on their website. So you can ask it, can you shorten that? Let's say, shorten that 30%. And it will give me a more condensed version of what it originally gave me based off of what I asked. So it's going to keep the important stuff, but it's just going to say it in fewer words. So again, just be creative with what you're asking it and how you're prompting it. To me, it's crazy that this is a free tool. You don't have to pay anything to do this, and you can ask it as many questions as you need. Just a huge time saver, because if I had to type this out from scratch, it's so much time planning what I want to say, thinking about what I want to cover, wording things correctly, making sure the grammar is all great, maybe having other people, help out with this. Maybe I can ask AI to write a couple of versions about it. I can pass it out to my team, ask them which they think sounds best. We can make edits and it's published. So it's a lot quicker than starting from scratch. So that's just a couple of examples of those prompts. Here are a couple of more financial and administrative tasks that you can prompt AI to do. So here's one. How can I create a budget for a Montessori school that accounts for classroom materials, staff salaries, and facility maintenance? Fundraising letters. If your school is a nonprofit, you can definitely ask ChatGPT to do some of that work when it comes to fundraising. You can ask it to give you a list of local businesses to maybe go and ask for favors for the fundraising. You can ask it to write a compelling fundraising letter. You can ask it to give you some fundraising ideas. So let's see what it comes up with when I say that. I'm always curious to see what kind of interesting ideas it comes up with. Okay, some for my, and it will come up with a list of ideas. So it's always fun because these are kind of the more conceptual things that you can ask it. And then maybe at your staff meeting, you can present these ideas and ask people which ones they think are cool, which ones they think that they would be, willing to do. But it really does give good advice and good ideas sometimes when you're just a little bit stunted or don't know, what can I do? It can also help you with the grant applications. Help me draft a grant proposal to secure funding for a Montessori school's outdoor classroom renovation project. You can make the question as specific as possible. And that always helps. I think the more information that you give ChatGPT, sometimes the better, because it can really write very specific things. It's not like Google where you're searching for answers and it's not always going to give you exactly what you're looking for, the more information you provide ChatGPT, the more specific the content is going to give you back. Tuition policy updates. We always have questions about this. Write a clear and concise explanation for our updated tuition policy to send to parents. So I can copy and paste this. And maybe I want to add a benefit for parents that are committing to the full 3-year program. And it can write one for me. And still thinks I'm Northwood Montessori. As you use ChatGPT more, it will store the data from your past prompts and questions. So it will probably start to use your school name, use your name if you're the director and you're writing a lot of letters through here. So there we go. It comes up with a tuition policy here, 10%. That's something I want to do. Maybe I say change it to 25%, or I don't know, but it gives you a letter that you have something to start with and you can edit it rather than starting from scratch. And for the staff hiring process, I know this is a challenge for a lot of schools, finding staff, recruiting. You can create a hiring guide for Montessori teaching assistants, including interview questions that assist their understanding of the Montessori method. You can create job descriptions. So you can ask it to create a job description for a job opening that you recently have. So all of this it can do for you. It's really such a great tool. And again, I kind of can't believe it's free. But I'd love to hear now. I'm going to open it up to just general discussion of what you've used it for, what your questions are about using AI and ChatGPT. Are you curious about any other prompts? So I'll see if anyone has any questions and maybe I can show some more examples of prompts based off of that. Do you feel like you have some new ideas for what you can do with ChatGPT?
Hi, Camila. It's Syra with
Hi.
Crabapple Montessori. This is really exciting. Is it the kind of, for example, the social media post, is it intended that you can copy paste, or would that be copywriting? It's just giving you examples and then you need to rewrite it for
So
not to be.
you can copy and paste it. You can copy and paste it for social media. I would say be a little bit more careful when it comes to blogs, because blogs is usually where we come into some more issues. Social media is so casual that you can copy and paste those captions. But I think for blogs, because again, it is taking some data from online, it might be pulling from blogs that already exist. You want to make sure, again, you check through everything and you make the edits to make it your own. I always like to say it gives you a starting point. When it comes to social media, I recommend just taking a look at it and you can copy and paste it because you don't have to think too much about Instagram. It's not about the captions. It just gives you something that you don't have to think about. You can just post, everything looks good. You can change the hashtags to make it more personal to your school if that helps as well. But definitely look over blogs. Don't copy and paste a blog from ChatGPT. I think
Right.
also it loses your voice a little bit. So while I say, you can definitely use it to help you copyright and create blogs for your school, copy and paste that content onto a Word document and maybe take 15 minutes to rework certain elements or add your own tone, maybe change a couple of sentences because you don't want it, to sound a little bit too generic, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I see here the examples, practical ways to actually use it are really helpful. Great. How does AI integrate with email? So I think with currently with ChatGPT, I think on the paid version, it can literally connect to your email and you can use it that way. What I would recommend if you're comfortable with the free version of ChatGPT, you can just copy and paste Again, because AI is not always going to be in your voice, it's not always 100% accurate, I would recommend always revising that content before you send it to a parent or send it out to a prospective parent. So for me, copying and pasting is almost a little bit easier because I can make the edits on my Gmail account before sending that out, or I can make sure that I'm saying everything I want to the way I want to, rather than just having AI automate everything. Now, when it comes again to using a CRM automated email, I definitely think it's, those are different types of emails that you're sending, like email marketing or a confirmation email is different. But if it's a more personalized email, I certainly recommend revising it thoroughly. ChatGPT is how some families found our school and thus scheduled a tour with us, but I never thought to look more into what it is. It's interesting too, because we know millennial parents are heavily using ChatGPT. This is a very popular tool that they're using in their everyday life. You can literally use it for anything. So I wouldn't be surprised if parents are actually saying, hey, can you give me a list of Montessori schools in my area? And that might be how parents are actually finding you. Is there any way to make your school more visible on ChatGPT? So not that we currently know of, because again, basically the way that ChatGPT works is it's drawing information from the internet. So what's already out there. So if you have a good online presence, if you have a good presence online, if you have a Google My Business, if you are running ads, it does help with your visibility in general on the internet. So in turn, it can help you populate on ChatGPT. Whereas if you don't have any presence online, it's not going to pull that, it's not going to be able to pull that data. Any other questions? I would encourage everyone here to just, think about a couple of things that you want to offload from your daily, to-do list and see what you can have ChatGPT or other AI tools do for you instead of you having to start from scratch and write all of this information yourself. I'll say you can also use it for parenting. So here, can you upload attachments, documents, or does it need to be copy and paste? So I'm not sure if with the free version you can, but I know with the paid version you absolutely can you can attach PDFs, Word docs. I think you can actually do that with this version if you include, see it says here, Get Plus. So Mini doesn't support attachments. But you can always, if it's a Word document, you can easily copy and paste the content that's in that Word document onto ChatGPT. If it's a PDF, you'd need the paid version, which I'm not sure how expensive it is. I think it's a subscription-based model. But honestly, the majority of people just use the mini, the light version, and there's a lot you can do with it. And that's why it's so great for schools, because we don't have to worry about this from a budget perspective. Could this be uploaded? Documents be edited? Yeah, so what you can do, and it's very easy to do this, you can just copy and paste this information. You can put it on a Google or Word doc, and you can go in and you can make those changes. It's very easy to go in and make those edits, which I recommend doing with all AI content is to make edits. So you definitely don't want it to sound a little bit too robotic. But yeah, I would just encourage everyone today to, if there's an email that you can, and this is another thing, is if you have an email that it's kind of like, I don't know how to respond to this. Like my brain is a little bit stuck to today. I haven't had my coffee. You can copy and paste that email and you can ask it, respond to this email for me. Sorry, I meant can ChatGPT edit an uploaded Word document? Yes. Yeah, you can. So if you have a Word document that you don't feel like going in and editing the grammar or revising it, you can copy and paste the content from a Word document and say, can you make sure all of the grammar is correct on this? And it will make sure it will check everything for you. That's another cool thing you can do with it. So it was a good question. Kristen here. I use ChatGPT a lot. Hardest thing is always keeping live on social media so I can create content through it, especially during Montessori Ed Week. Saves me and my staff so much time. Yeah, because I think social media is one of those things that because it's not necessarily one of the most important things, it tends to fall at the bottom of our to-do list and be forgotten. So if, at the beginning of the month, you can ask it, write 2 social media posts a week for my Instagram. I want this month's theme to be all about positive discipline, or I want this month's theme to be all about practical life. And it will come up with a series of captions that you can simply copy and paste. At that point, all you need is pictures for images for you to upload on your Instagram, but it saves you so much time. Here, Vicky, is there a way for ChatGPT to use something like Canva to create an advertisement or something or some other marketing materials? So there are more advanced actual graphic design AIs out there, but they are costly. So I'm not sure how practical they are from a budget standpoint, but there are those AI tools out there that you can use to create graphics. Let me ask ChatGPT. Okay. Oops. And it will give me a list of AI tools. So Canva, not so much. Probably this one. Visme, I've heard, is a great one. But again, a lot of these are paid. So yeah, certainly if you don't want to create your own, if you don't want to take the time to go into Canva. I believe also Canva, the paid version now has is starting to have more AI built into it. So I think it's something we will see in the future with Canva where you will be able to ask it, can you create a poster for my school? These are my school colors, and it's about, it's a parenting event for we're going to be discussing tantrums, and it will be able to create that. So that's probably something that we'll see in the future, hopefully. And AI is really becoming just so advanced so quickly. So these are tools that, you're going to start using in your daily life, and you're going to be wondering, how did I live without ChatGPT? I use it personally in just my day-to-day life. You can ask it to create meal plans. You can ask it to write your grocery lists. And again, once you ask it once, it kind of stores that data on your account because you have to create an account on here. And it starts to like get to know the types of questions that you're asking and what you're asking about. So it will probably figure out quite quickly that you are a Montessori administrator. And it will get to understand you more and more. It's kind of scary, but also very neat. So any other questions about its capabilities? Something else I want to mention is you can use it to create presentation slide content. So if per se you wanted to have a presentation that was for your parent community and you wanted to talk about the benefits of the 3-year cycle, you could ask it, create a slideshow presentation for Montessori families on the, say, of the kindergarten year. And it can break down that content. So it gives you something to work with where you don't have to start from scratch. Then you can build it and it gives you the suggestions. Say I'm really pressed for time. I can copy and paste this and I can put, where's the top? Expand on this topic. And it will basically write the slides information for me. Again, revise all of this. What you'll notice is actually a lot of this content is really accurate because again, it is pulling from online resources. So it's pulling from what exists in the internet's database, which is just massive. So a lot of this information is accurate. You might just need to make those edits for it to have your tone of voice, your unique perspectives, your school's identity, but it's pretty good for this. See here. Oh, Lori responds, I use Gemini to watch the older Nido Marketing videos. It can watch YouTube videos and it gives you detailed notes with actionable bullet points. Yes. And I think also Zoom is doing that now, or there's a lot of AI where you can have it watch a video for you and it can give you a note summary. A lot of college students are using things like this to help them, create better notes. So it's really great. Kristen, the paid version of Canva does create ChatGPT marketing materials. I just tried it. There you go. So we're going to see a lot more with it's going to become the norm with online tools. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years, Gmail starts having its own AI built into it where it can help you respond to emails. This is probably something that's in the works. So before you know it, it's really just going to be everywhere. So it's great to get some early practice, save yourself some time, and use these tools. All right, any other questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm glad this was helpful. I hope it gave you some inspiration as to the prompts, because once you start seeing just how capable AI and ChatGPT really is, you'll start asking it for everything. And it will just make your life a lot easier and save you a whole lot of time. So it's a great tool. Lots of inspiration. Okay, great. That was the goal. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me personally. I'm going to drop my email here. I'm happy to give you any tips or advice on tools that can be helpful in this space. But I highly recommend just creating your free account on ChatGPT if you don't already have one, and just experimenting and asking it a couple of sample prompts and seeing what you can get from it today. All right, if we don't have anything else, next week we are going to be talking about a couple of free ways to market your school. So ways to grow your enrollment that don't necessarily cost you money, like a Google ad campaigns or things like that. So hopefully it'll give you some ideas and strategies for that. It'll also be very collaborative. So come with your ideas, your questions, and we look forward to a good conversation on ways you can save money and market your school. Also, if you have any future town hall topic requests, feel free to let me know. You can again email me, or you can just comment now if you have any topics you'd like to discuss in the future. We do plan these around what the community wants to hear. So just let me know. All right, I think that's it for today. If no one else has any questions, comments, we'll go ahead and wrap up. This recording will be posted on our YouTube channel, so if you want to reference it or look through any of the prompts, and the presentation slides with all of those prompts that I showed is also going to be posted on Montessori Thrive, so you can always reference that if you need some inspiration in the future. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Take care and have a great rest of your Thursday.
Thank you.